before you become a member of any political party. The kind of things that happen in Nigeria is so obnoxious that if God looks down from heaven, you realize that we are really paying for our sins.
Speak your truth and be heard on the Eagles Morning Rise, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eagles 102.3 FM, your radio experience you can count on.
Eagles. Playing the music you want to hear.
Eagles 102.3. From Milky Way to Earth, everywhere there's internet, you can connect with Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. Log on to our website www.eaglesfm.com. Follow and engage with us now on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok at Eagles FM Abuja, Instagram at Eagles FM 1023. Download our apps on your Android and iOS stores. Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja, your radio experience you can count on.
Everybody is sure working for the weekend, and yes, the weekend is upon us. This is the Eagles Outlook, where we mirror into political issues as well as bring to you current affairs. Remember, we are streaming live right about now as I so speak, under the sound of my voice, on Facebook as well as on YouTube. Eagles TV Abuja, it is on YouTube. On Facebook, it is at Eagles FM Abuja. And spreading those beautiful Eagles lofty wings of yours, you can indeed reach out to us as well as find us across every other social media platform as you know it at Eagles FM Abuja. My name is Uduak Daniel, and so yesterday we will be looking into the matter that concerns President Tinubu's executive order, looking at a power struggle over oil revenue. Right? That's right. I mean, we will put it to rest this morning and look into it holistically. Now, we've got our guest who's going to be joining us via phone call. Now, he's in the person of Professor Anthony Chibo. Right. Professor Anthony Chibo is an African development activist, is an author, is a keynote speaker, as well as a renowned economist. And he'll be adding his voice in the matter that borders around the President of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, signing an executive order directing the direct remittance of oil and gas revenues to the Federation account. And that, he said, would be effective February 13 of 2026. So it should have already started. Now, the move is looking into a broader perspective, and that would be to curbing revenue leakages, to boost government earnings, and to enhance transparency in Nigeria's petroleum sector. But if you recall that Nigeria is one of the largest oil producers in Africa, and oil revenue is a very significant contributor to the country's economy. Now, imagine you're working hard and someone else is managing your money. Wouldn't you want to know where this money is going? You would, right? That's right. Now, that's exactly what is happening here, because the government is saying, I'm trying to take control of oil revenue, but some people are questioning if they have the power, if the government has the power to do that. Let me paint you yet another picture just before we connect with our guest now, so you have a proper understanding. Imagine Nigeria is a big house, yeah? And oil is like the money that comes in every month. The government wants to manage this money better, so President Tinubu made a rule. He called it an executive order, saying oil money, all the oil money, should go directly into a big pot, which we would like to see as a federation account, instead of being handled by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, that is the NNPCL. So think of it like this, yeah? You're saving money for a big toy, and you want to make sure it doesn't get lost or stolen. So the government is trying to do the same with Nigeria's oil money. The problem is, or the challenge is, there is a law called the Petroleum Industry Act, PIA, that says how oil money should be managed. Some people think that the president's rule contradicts this law. Even the Nigerian Bar Association says the president can't change laws with an executive order. Now, Pengason, a group representing oil workers now, is also very unhappy. And they say that they will not follow the order. But the government is saying the order is binding and must be followed. So the big question is, does the president have the power to make this rule? Or is it a case? Is it a case of overstepping authority? And what will happen next? These are the issues and concerns that quite a number of Nigerians are asking, and we want to find the answers to it. There is a legal perspective to it, though. And the NBA has come out to give us their stand on the matter. But let's hear what our guest, Professor Anthony Chibo, has got to say in this regard. Good morning to you, good Prof. Welcome aboard to the discourse this morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you, Prof.
Thank you
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
Sure.
Awesome. Prof, you might want to speak up a bit if you don't mind. Can barely hear you a bit so that the family members can catch what you've got to say.
Can you? Okay, let's test this. Can you hear me better?
Very well, Prof. Now, Prof, I'd like you to very quickly dive into the matter that concerns Mr. President issuing an executive order and the power struggle over oil revenue, where just recently we saw where the Pengason has staged a protest. In fact, they're saying that they will not abide by Mr. President's executive order. And the special advisor to the president on information and strategy, by Onanuga, has also come out to telling them that there is nothing they will ever do, that the president's order supersedes the PIA, which allows for the control of revenues, all the revenue that comes to NNPCL. What do you think about this? Where are we going with this? Are we saying that the president's order is not in line, will not benefit us, because the president actually said with this kinds of money, if this money gets into the federation account, oh, we will see so much development, we will see this, we will see that, it will help in even the less borrowing for Nigeria. What are your thoughts, Prof?
Yeah, okay. Thank you for having me, and let me stress that I am going to approach this matter strictly from the standpoint of economic governance.
Okay, economic governance, okay.
Design. Yeah, I'm going to approach it from that standpoint. I think it will do your listeners and all of us a good thing to hear this new point of view, and I believe it's the most important point of view. I will approach the matter strictly from the standpoint of economic governance, institutional design, and development outcomes, not policy. Okay? Because for me, the real question is not whether the executive order is right or wrong. The real question is, will this decision finally create a transparent, traceable, and development-focused oil revenue system that Nigerians can see, feel, and verify? That is what's important here. Will the decision finally, I repeat, create a transparent, traceable, and development-focused oil revenue system that has been lacking, that Nigerians will finally be able to see, feel, and verify. You see, from an economic standpoint, which I made it clear I'll be coming from an economic development standpoint, Nigeria's challenge has never been the location of oil revenue. It has always been the absence of a transparent value chain from the extraction of oil to revenue and development outcomes. So there hasn't been any transparent value chain from extraction to development outcomes. That's the issue right here. Countries that transformed their economy, i.e. Norway, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, did not succeed because of who collected the money. They succeeded because of how the money was governed, how the money was tracked, how transparent the tracking system was, and they reinvested it transparently into national development. Can I repeat that?
Go ahead.
It was reinvested into national development. So the real issue is not the executive order itself. Hello?
Yes, please. Go
The
ahead.
real issue here is not the executive order itself. The real issue is, does Nigeria have the institutional architecture to ensure that even that every naira of oil revenue becomes a visible public good? That's the issue here. So this is the part Nigerians should get clear. In economics, revenue alone does not create development. What creates development is the transmission mechanism between revenue and development. We do not have a proper structure, infrastructure to transmit revenue into development. We need a system. We need a system that transmits our revenue into infrastructure. We need a system that transmits our revenue into jobs. We need a system that transmits our revenue into industrial capacity. Who is keeping and who is collecting that revenue is not the important part. We need a system that transmits our revenue into human capital. Educate the people in the skills that are necessary. We need a system that produces an economy that is export competitive. This is a very important issue.
But Prof, systems are not created and enforced by executive orders, are they? Especially when there is an existing law, the type that is called the PIA.
Well, I would say that yes and no. Sometimes a system can be created by an executive order. In most cases, systems are created over many years of development-focused legislative agreements and legislative laws. The laws brought about the legislature. But in trying to transform, I remember I said I am not going to approach this through politics. I'm going to approach this through economics. So yes, if it takes an executive order to realign revenue to economic development, then executive order it will be. Have I said that somebody has done something good or bad? No. I've just said and I've pointed out that there needs to be an alignment between what is happening in development and our main source of oil revenue. It is important. Now, okay, let me tell you something. As an economist, I evaluate this executive order by asking one question. I think this will help this matter. That question is this. Does this improve the executive order I'm talking about, okay? Does it improve... Hello, are you there?
Yes, go ahead. Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I said, as an economist, I'm going to evaluate the executive order by asking one question. Does this executive order improve the transparency, predictability, and efficiency of the revenue to development chain? If the answer is yes,
yes,
then it is economically beneficial. I don't know about politically now. If the answer is yes to that, my question, what is my question? Does the executive order improve the transparency, predictability, and efficiency of the revenue to development chain? If the answer is yes, then it is economically beneficial to all Nigeria. If the answer is no, then it becomes a huge governance risk and tragedy. So the executive order is not the solution here. It is only a trigger. The success of hopefully what the aim of the executive order is, the success depends entirely on what institutional reforms follow. Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Are you with me?
Yes, yes.
So the real question here, and the real question Nigerians should be asking, the real question you should be asking is not whether the president is right or wrong. How the question should be, where is the transparent, public, accessible system that shows how much oil revenue came in? Where is the transparent, public, accessible system that shows where it went and what development outcome it produced? Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Are we together?
Yes, yes.
That is important. That is the real question. It's not the political question. Is did he have the power? Does he not have the power? No, I'm not going to go there. I'm an economist. I'm going to ask, and I think this is the most important question, is now, where is the transparent, public, accessible system? Where is the transparent, public, accessible system that shows how much revenue has come in? Where is the transparent system that will show us where that revenue is going, what it was spent in, and what is the development outcome it produced? Nigeria, that is the question we ought to be asking. All right? So that's my answer to your that's my answer to your question. As a professional, I must emphasize that the laws that create stability and stability that it creates is what attracts investment.
Well, okay.
Let me say one more thing to answer your question. One more thing. You see, the Petroleum Industrial Act, okay, the PIA, was designed to give NNPCL commercial autonomy. Any executive order that appears to contradict any act of parliament creates uncertainty. Once again, I'm looking at it from economics. Uncertainty is not good for investors. Therefore, uncertainty is anti-development. It creates legal ambiguity, anti-development again. It creates institutional tension. The mere fact that we're talking about this and the people are asking and people are trading words is institutional tension. Not good for development, not good for external investors, not good for internal investors. And it also creates governance risk.
Well,
that is my professional answer to your question.
Yeah, I heard, and I'm sure a family member as well heard, your angle and perspective to the discourse. And you said you were going to base it basically on, from the economic development perspective. But then from that perspective, some political observers, as well as economists in their own right, have attested that President Tinubu's executive order aims to increase transparency and accountability in Nigeria's oil revenue management, and that is a step in the right direction. However, the controversy surrounding the order is raising concerns about the government's commitments to the rule of law, as well as democratic institutions. I mean, for transparent, accessible systems, Nigeria can learn from countries like Norway, Chile. I mean, they have implemented robust systems, and all of these systems were put in place for managing oil revenues. So there are also some other some steps that can be followed. Independent oversight bodies to monitor oil revenue management. Do we have that? Do we have regular audits and public disclosure of oil revenue data? clear rules for allocating oil revenues to different sectors such as education and infrastructure. I mean, strong whistleblower protection laws to encourage reporting of corruption. These are what we are also asking and seeking from this.
You're saying the same thing because you're making my point.
Right.
That Nigeria lacks the infrastructure that transparently shows the line connection between revenue and development. It's not there.
So where do we stand? Where do we stand in all of this? The bickering from Ferguson, NNPCL, government is the president is saying, I'm giving an executive order. Bayo Onanuga is saying, Ferguson, you have no right. Executive order overrules anything called the PIA. And we are bickering left, right, and center. And yet these things are left unsolved. So what direction should we be going now, Prof?
The direction we should be going on is wisdom, economic wisdom. Where there is economic wisdom, political wisdom will follow. Now, let us hypothetically say something now. Let us say I was to give advice, consultative advice to the president. Mm-hmm. I would have gone about this differently. I would not have gone about it through a unilateral executive order. Even if I was going to do that, I would have met all stakeholders prior to that. I would have debated, I would have had input from every stakeholder in this matter, including the common man. I would have assessed, analyzed the response I'm getting from all stakeholders, and then tailor my executive order to whatever it should be to achieve my aim. In this case, as the professed aim is to bring transparency into the whole system. So that's the way I would have gone. Why? Because, like I said, you see, we cannot circumvent the fact that instability does not attract investment and does not allow for development. The Petroleum Industrial Act was designed to give this NNPCL commercial autonomy. Now, any executive order that appears, I repeat, that appears, I didn't say it is not, no, that's not the point. The point is that, you see, it's not what is the truth, it is the appearance of what the truth is that's more important.
Right.
It's not what you're doing that's important, it's the perception of what you're doing that's important. Now, the perception here seems to be that, hey, somebody somewhere thinks he can do what he wants, irrespective of the law, and the law here I'm talking about the PIA, all right? Now, this perception creates uncertainty. This perception creates legal ambiguity. You have lawyers that are going to submit their own opinions. That shouldn't have. This whole executive order should not be bringing about this. And I believe it was thought through and gone through in another way. Institutional tension is definitely not what Nigeria needs. So I would have gone about it another way.
All right. Let's open the phone lines, get to hear from the family member now to add your voice and ask their questions and put their concerns out there in public glare. The number for you to call to be a part of this conversation right now will be 0907 353 0044. Giving you the number again, it will be 0907 353 0044. Let's stick to that number. You can as well send a message to the WhatsApp portal number, and that will be 0909 705 4450. Head out to the YouTube channel as well as the Facebook page wall. Leave a comment in the comment section, and your voice will be heard loudly and clearly in this arena. Now, I see a message coming from a family member, but just before I go on with that message, let's go take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Yes, good morning. Morning to you. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good morning, Brandon. My name is Comrade Saleh. I'm calling from
Comrade, welcome aboard. Very quickly, let's hear you.
For me, for this executive order, as a Nigeria president, you know the power is very powerful and our president is very powerful. The executive order is going to work. Because when you see the executive, like House of Assembly, are backing the president seriously in this government. So the executive order is going to work because when they don't apply, they don't accept it. It's going to be forced. You understand? So indirectly it's going to work. But what in my problem is that the executive order, is it working for Nigeria or is it working for the government of today? Because what we need, when you give authority or executive order to any place, because this government are making a lot of revenue, and these revenues are going to the governor and the rest, and we are not seeing anything development of the early stage. And then you see, even development is not going on, no road, nothing. No hospital. The executive order is going to help us, or it's just for them to make more money and use the money for less election to making make it as say they want to use the money against us in this country.
Right.
Because where is the money to develop, we are going to be happy on it. Every Nigerian will be happy. But we give executive order, since the government has come in, nobody enjoy this government. We are not happy with the government. And we are giving executive order to all the really money Nigeria have in order to transfer to inside the federation account. Now they are going to make more money. The government is going to get money. The money is going to flow from within the government, but it's not going to happen for individuals like us.
All right.
Because it's claimed for, and we are not happy on it.
All right, comrade.
So what I'm saying is that is exactly what is going to work, but is it going to affect us, the poor people in the country?
Okay, some question there. Is it going to affect us, the poor people in this country? Will it be to the benefit of the Nigerians? I mean, will it get to the grassroots? Will Nigerians feel the impact? As the good prophet said, would it finally bring about transparency? Would it finally bring about accountability? I mean, it's the same question, Prof. Anthony, the Nigerians are still asking. Even family members adding their voice. It says, is this going to really help us? Or is this just going to be an order that will only become a charade of itself? An order that will only benefit a class of people in the society. And in fact, and we see this message that came from a family member. Now, this one is coming from Yusuf, or came from Yusuf rather. He says, the president's executive order stopping NNPC deductions is an order. NNPCL should not expect sympathy judging from the abysmal performance over the years. NNPCL has been deducting management fee, gas flare penalties, operating cost deductions for petrol subsidy, strategic stock holding, and pipeline maintenance deductions. I see no justification for these deductions when subsidies have been removed and when NNPCL have sold their strategic reserve upfront. They are deducting and retaining gas flaring fees that ought to go to the host communities. It is a shame that NNPCL, with 4 refineries, 21 fuel depots, and 5,120 kilometers pipelines networks, can abandon their refineries for importation of products. Their pipelines are left to rot away. Their Frontier Exploration Fund is a slush fund, as we've not seen tangible outcome from their exploration activities. I advise NNPCL to sue the president if they are not satisfied with the executive order. All right, that's what Yusuf had sent from a previous day right there, and I see how relevant it is in the discourse. Prof.
Yes. I didn't get the name of the person that
Yusuf.
I feel Yusuf. I intentionally use that word. I feel Yusuf. I feel his articulate. I feel the passion in his articulate submission.
Right.
I'm sympathetic to it. To be very frank, I'm sympathetic to it. Now, listen. Sometimes what empathy and passion is necessary for the right thing to happen. But experts, or should I say, consultants like myself, technocrats like myself, what we do is to compress that compassion and channel it with strategy. Now, if Nigeria, and I know they are truly serious about development at this point, if Nigerians really want to react to what has happened, that is the executive order, and then this is what I would submit. All right? There should be a people's push for the following. And the first one should be a push for now, especially at this junction of change, can I call it that? There must be a unified oil revenue dashboard. A unified oil revenue dashboard. And let me explain. This is a real-time publicly, for the first time, a real-time publicly accessible platform showing daily production, showing daily revenue, showing daily remittances, showing daily or periodic allocations, and showing project outcome. Why can this not happen in our dear country? This would eliminate any talk. This will eliminate any suspicion. This will eliminate a mistrust. It will transform everything to economic development for the people. A unified nation. Let's put our energy. Let Nigerians, I'm now speaking, I'm advising as an economic consultant to the Nigerian people. Fight for a unified oil revenue dashboard. This is a real-time publicly accessible platform showing daily production. In case you think what I am saying is from Mars, no. This is what Norway is doing now. This is what Chile is doing now. This is what Qatar is doing now. Why can't Nigeria do it now? Since an executive order has been brought about, and the background behind it is to bring transparency, then let's do the transparency properly. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
And so this transparency will be a real-time publicly accessible. The way you can access TikTok, the way you can access the stock market, okay, on your phone, on your laptop. Let us be able to know how much oil Nigeria made today. Produced today. Daily production. How much revenue, according to oil revenue market or price market, did Nigeria actually get from that oil? Where are the remittances going? How are they being allocated? And what are the project outcomes from this revenue? This is what the question is. Because if anybody is really against this being transparently public, then there's another thing behind it. And I speak strictly as an economist. That's
Right.
my answer to Yusuf.
Right. Okay, give me.
Should I say my help to Yusuf's position?
Right. Well, you can still join the conversation here. Call the number 0907-353-0044. These are the numbers to call to join the conversation. And you can listen from wherever you are in the world, www.eaglesfm.com, and take a listen in to the conversation so you can add your voice in the discourse, as well as get onto the WhatsApp portal number 09097054450. Now, I see this question is coming from Adebayo Ogunlana in Lagos. It says, Prof. Chivo, do you think the executive order is a step towards breaking the cycle of corruption in Nigeria's oil sector, or will it lead to more bureaucratic red tape?
I like his question. Adebayo, am I correct?
Yes, Adebayo Ogunlana in Lagos.
Yeah, I'm almost tempted to answer as somebody sitting in my parlor and as a Nigerian, which I'm probably a Nigerian.
Right.
But I'm going to answer as a professional. Okay. Now, the question is, do I think it will lead to more corruption?
Yes.
Don't get me started. All right, because the culture in our country is a culture of corruption.
A culture of corruption.
Now, well, we have it's a culture of corruption. we do not need to be told that it is much more easier to go by the daily activities in the nation, where giving a small bribe here and there, it's a giving. When something is a giving in society, what is it? It's the culture. So bribery is the culture. Now somebody is asking whether the executive order would it cut corruption? Well, this is the way I'll answer that. If the true aim for the executive order is to create transparency, then, like I said before, the executive order itself is not the solution. It is the measures that come after the executive order that will show what the real aims of the executive order is and whether it will achieve what the purported aim is. Now, what happens next? And I am saying, like I said before, the next step now should be this institutional public dashboard. It can come in many forms, okay? But there has to be an institutional public platform where people, all Nigerians, can see where the oil revenue has come from, where it is going to, and how much of it has come in. If today or tomorrow you hear that such a dashboard is being created, then yes, it will cut down on corruption. Because where it is clear to everybody where the money came from, that is how much was the daily production, and from there you can deduce how much the daily revenue is, and remittances, there is no room for corruption.
Okay.
And that's very important here, because the moment you see somebody following up this executive order with a unified oil revenue dashboard, then the person does not want corruption. However, on the flip side, professionally, if this does not follow, then nobody can say that corruption is going to be eliminated from this sector. Okay?
All right. Well, let's see. This one is coming from Samuel, all the way from Kuje now. It says, greetings to you and greetings to the Prof. UD, if the president has the power to give executive orders to issue, executive powers to issue orders, my question is, who benefits from the order? Is it in the area of making money for themselves that the president gives executive orders? What of other areas that the masses will benefit from? All right, and that's what Samuel is saying. And let me quickly take some more questions. Fatima in Abuja is saying, how can Nigeria ensure that a centralized oil revenue management system benefits this average citizen, especially in rural areas with a poor infrastructure? I think it's also aligning with Samuel in thoughts. Now we go to this one here. It's coming from Jacob in Ghana. It says, given Nigeria's history of oil revenue mismanagement, what guarantees are in place to prevent this move from becoming another avenue for siphoning funds? It's very clear. Nigerians are saying, is this benefiting us? And I think they're asking the same question that you're asking, Prof. How is it going to benefit us? How is it going to reach out to the rural communities, right? In fact, which many a time, it is from this rural community that this oil is even drilled from. And at the same time, they are suffering in losses.
There is mistrust. There is clearly mistrust. All the questions you've gotten are asking very related, if not the same thing. So, who is it going to benefit? All right, everybody has accepted that there is this executive order. Some people are saying, did he even have the power? But we're jumping. We're saying, okay, he has the power, and he has done it, and then who is it going to benefit? And that's where I come in again with what I'm saying. The only thing that answers the question, who it's benefiting, is this real-time publicly accessible dashboard.
Okay. Where everybody can see. Everybody can see. They can access
Exactly.
it. Okay.
Exactly.
No doubt.
Let's think about it. You're asking who is it going to benefit? And I'm saying, let us say let us begin to say, okay, follow it up and create a unified revenue oil dashboard. Believe me, the day this unified revenue dashboard, publicly accessible by all Nigerians, is created, is the day Nigeria becomes the greatest nation in Africa.
And this is practiced in Norway. It's practiced in other countries of the world.
It is practiced in Norway. Fact check it. We are lying. People should do some fact checking as we speak. It is practiced in Chile.
Even in Chile.
Practices it.
Wow.
Yes. In different forms. But the point is that how many barrels of oil these nations have sold is known publicly to everybody in that nation. How much money they make is known publicly to everybody in that nation. Where it is going to go, for what reasons it's going to be spent, is known publicly to everybody. Why can't we do it here? This answer, it will cancel the mistrust that is bringing about these questions of who is this executive order going to benefit.
Right.
It's a clear and short answer.
So it goes beyond just issuing executive orders. It means we should put structures in place that will allow for accessibility, transparency, and real-time knowledge as to how the flow of money, importing, exporting, whatever revenue comes from oil, is and accessible to the general populace. That's what you're saying. So if everybody's involved, everybody can trust the system.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. That's exactly. Now let me just say a few things before your next question. You see, nobody at this point, everybody should be professional.
Okay.
Nobody should say, no, this is bad. This is bad. They want to, when I speak a little bit of broken here, they want to just chop money. No. I am saying everybody should exercise, refrain, be professional, and be polite. What you should, I'm talking now to my people, the Nigerian people, what you should concentrate on is saying, now that the executive order is there, those that refuse it will go to court. Fine. But in order to show that your aim for this executive order is transparency and development benefits for the nation, please go ahead and execute yesterday. That shows the urgency. Executed yesterday a real-time publicly accessible platform showing daily production, daily revenue, remittances, allocations, and project outcomes. Case closed. Nobody will be able to talk. Then let me add another professional point.
Yeah.
You see, revenue governance. It's important that revenue governance be protected by law and not by executive discretion. Why? Because of continuity.
Right.
So this is something, So even if there's an executive order given, and it turns out to be good, if the dashboard is created, it must be instituted by law.
And that's where the contention is. That's where it is even now.
Hold on, let me just make my point. And that is why some people are asking for legal interpretation.
Right.
And that is why I said at the beginning of the show, if it was me, I would have started from the legal interpretation first and the buy-in of everybody in the industry before I made the executive order. Because at the end of the day, even if the intention of the executive order is good, the tension it causes is not good.
So Mr. President just jumped the gun on this one without putting in the right thoughts into it.
Yes. Nobody should assume. It is not fair, it is not proper, it's not professional to assume the worst, to assume that it was done in bad faith. No, we will not do that.
All right. Chinedu is in Berlin, Germany, is saying, from a development perspective, should Nigeria prioritize investing oil revenues in human capital, that is education, healthcare, or physical infrastructure such as roads and power?
Both. Both. Yeah, we are at a stage where we don't even have the luxury to choose.
Wow.
We are not developing anyway. But let's start. I like his question because he starts with human capital. That's number one. Because the human capital can eventually develop the structural framework. If you have very well trained engineers, the engineers will go ahead and develop the infrastructure. Fine. So I will start with human capital. Create the necessary human capital. Now, human capital is of 10 years ago is not human capital today. I'm talking of that necessary for today's development. We are in the AI age. Can I call it the fourth industrial revolution? The age of AI. What is needed to actually retain jobs so that men can feed their families, so that men can be in the right frame of mind to invest and get the country, invest their knowledge and invest their money in things that develop the country. The skills needed for that have changed drastically. All right? Especially in the AI world. Nigeria, we have the expertise. We have many Nigerians abroad in the country that know what to do. I think they should be consulted so that the human capital being developed is directly proportional to what Nigeria needs for development.
All right, so
in the country.
So, Prof, we see this one. It says, Prof. Chibo, thank you for all that you've said. You've opened my eyes to the economic development perspective to the discourse. However, how can we trust the government to manage oil revenues transparently when there's no clear mechanism for public oversight? And this is coming from Ruth, all the way from Enugu State, right there. How can we trust? And finally now, Mohammed is in Kano, and it says, for me, I only have one question. Will this executive order attract more foreign investment to Nigeria's oil sector, or will it scare investors away due to perceived government overreach?
I don't know which one to start with. You may have to remind me.
All right, so Ruth is saying, how can we trust the government to manage oil revenues transparently when there's no clear mechanism for public oversight?
You see what I was saying? This is a trust issue. Over and over again, we hear this trust issue. And I feel you. I feel Ruth. And I am saying again, one answer. I gave it before. The only way, you see, you know why when two parties or three parties are coming together and the other parties have to trust each other, they all have to trust each other, what do? They enter a written agreement.
Yeah.
Correct? Now, the written agreement that helps the Nigerian public to trust this executive bill is the Unified Oil Revenue Dashboard, a real-time publicly accessible platform showing production, revenue, remittances, allocation, and outcome. That's the written agreement between the people and the executive order.
Right.
If the people are to trust.
Right. Now,
and the other question was...
Mohammed Sani in Kano is saying, as far as he's concerned, one question on his mind: will this executive order attract more foreign investment to Nigeria's oil sector, or will it scare investors away due to perceived government overreach?
Yes. You see, remember I was saying that the way I would evaluate this executive order is by asking one question. Do you remember?
Yes.
And which is, does it improve transparency, predictability, efficiency? And if the answer is yes, then I said that's good. But if the answer is no, then there's a big problem. Okay? Remember I said this was not the final solution, and that the issue here was that anything that brings about, you're talking about foreign investment, anything that brings about uncertainty is not good for foreign investment. So if this executive order at this point is bringing about arguments, court cases, uncertainty, it's not good for real-time, there's a word I'm looking for, real-time righteous investment. No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't be good for it. And that is why any argument, any dissent, any questions about it, the government should call these parties in and discuss these things so that these arguments be quelled, so that anybody seeking to invest in the sector does so knowing that the whole country is in agreement with it.
All right.
Uncertainty is not a good thing in any way whatsoever. Legal ambiguity.
Yeah.
Legal ambiguity.
Yeah.
One set of lawyers say this is this, another set of lawyers say that is that. That is not good. Institutional tension, not good.
And it won't help. It won't help investors. It never helps investors. Okay.
In any way. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Prof. Anthony Chibo. I wish we had more time to engage, but you are an African development activist, an author, a keynote speaker, a renowned economist. Thank you for adding your voice in this discourse this morning.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Yes. Right. And that's the voice of Professor Anthony Chibo, who is very expertise in conversations that border around oil and gas in the country, as well as other matters as well. Now, the controversy surrounding President Tinubu's executive order is highlighting the need for transparency, yes. It is highlighting the need for accountability, yes, as well as the respect for the rule of law in Nigeria's oil revenue management. So, if there is a future plan, the government must and should establish a clear plan for oil revenue management, and a good prof has given a system that will work, that would allow for transparency and accountability, and as well as engage with stakeholders. The moment we know what it is that we are earning from our resources, there will be trust in that system, and the ambiguities that may follow, or that follows now, will be rid of, and we won't have to go to court at every plunder, every talk, every bail, every order and stuff like that. We should be able to indeed resolve these issues and resolve them with every sense of responsibility and civility. But we'll still see how this goes. Let's see how it pans out, because from a legal perspective though, it is very important. It is very important to note that all right, it is important to note that legally it has to be established within the four walls of the National Assembly. I mean, the National Assembly has got to indeed look into it, that order, and do something about it and put it into the law. So an executive order, according to the legal perspective now, cannot override what is in the law, and that is the PIA. But as I said earlier, we will keep watching, keep our fingers crossed, and see where this leads us. Some Nigerians already saying the president's executive order will be binding in the end, but what can we say? There is also the rule of law. Now, it's also very pointed to put it out there that, look, the thoughts and reaction of you, the guest and the callers, has not been influenced by Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja in any way. Good morning.